Yo, a purple? I got the purple again, bro. I got a purple the other day. Let's see what it is. Let's see what it is. I believe this is purple number 45. Missouri chaps, we need that. Let's go. For 416 hero. Oops, I banked it. And here we are with another day, another gaming session, picking from the whiteberry bush. I wonder how many of these whiteberries I have in the bank. I don't know, but we're going to get started with our Ironman dailies, quote unquote, and then we'll get back to Kalphite Queen. I'm sure in the previous clip here, you'll see that I have been doing a little bit more TOA, and I've been rewarded. So good news there. For the longest time, I didn't bother doing herb runs, and that's mostly because Chambers of Zarek and all the other raids in general dropped a ton of herbs. These days, I'm doing much less chambers than I did back then when I was actively going for the Twisted Bow, and on top of that, now it's just not purely in herb form, they're also in seed forms. TOA exclusively drops seeds, nothing's changed there, but Chambers used to only drop herbs, now it drops herbs and seeds. So I'm just going to take that into account and do an herb run here and there. And a quick POV switch, for those unaware, this is for 16 hero to 50 defense in the same game group. Right now I'm on, whoa, where am I going? Right now I'm on the way to maxing this account, albeit very slowly at this stage. We've been doing a whole ton of rune crafting at Zaya, working on some soul runes. But I've also been trying to do birdhouse runs, as I forgot seeds, that kind of sucks, to get my hunter level up. We're currently at 2152 defense, total level, 2152 total level, and we're 50 defense. And we're going to be 50 defense for a good bit, unless I decide to change it. Okay, with all those things out the way, let's swap back to the Lunar Spellbook. We have since geared up, and before we start out the session, let's take a look at the collection log again. We're 858 KC at Kalphite Queen, and the reason we're here is we're after the Jar of Sand and the Kalphite Princess pet. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We've been using the, oh, that is the wrong fairing. We've been using the Max Mage setup. Now, we have tried various other setups, but I do believe that this is the best one. And also, I just prefer this one more than anything else. I don't mind the shadow charges. I'd prefer to use the shadow charges over a bunch of divine potions for a silly boss like Kalphite Queen. And here comes the first KC of the day. What are we gonna get here? Oh, I thought we got another KQ head for a second there. I mean, we got a Kalphite head, the ensouled version. I'm just gonna leave that on the ground though, in favor of some food. When we first started this grind, we were at KC 669, so we're just under 200 total KC since our return to KQ. The pet is a 1 in 3,000, and the jar is a 1 in 2,000. But yeah, I think most places the pet is a 1 in 3,000. That's pretty standard. There are a few exceptions though, like at the Dumamoka, where it's effectively as common as one of the unique items, which honestly feels kind of bad. No matter how you look at it, whenever people pet hunt, it's amazing because the pets are just that rare, right? And also, when a pet is as common as an item, for one thing, like I said, it devalues the drop of a pet, in my opinion. It doesn't make it feel quite as amazing, but also you just start getting upset when you see the pet instead of an item. Something to note, which is honestly irrelevant in the grand scheme of the account, now that we have 12 dragon pickaxes, you can see it here in the Kalphite Queen collection log. The thing is, none of those came from Kalphite Queen, so honestly, it'd be nice to see our first dragon pickaxe here. The drop rate for it is a 1 in 400, which is a little bit more rare than, say, if you were to go into the wilderness, which is where I eventually did get my hands on my first ever dragon pickaxe, and the other 11. But that means at this point, if we never went into the wilderness, we're currently over 2 times the rate for a dragon pickaxe. It would just be cool to see one out of principle right now. We're a few KCs in now, and technically still on our first trip. Our inventory is filling up with drops, a couple of prayer potions, a super restore, even 25 grimy Renar weeds and snapdragons. Love to see it. Now, when I say technically a trip, it depends what your definition is, I suppose, right? I am TPing out between kills to go to my POH to restore my stats, but I'm running directly back. So in terms of the inventory, we're just doing one inventory worth of food, which with the shadow method sometimes gets me very, very far. When I first started this grind, I was using thralls on the Arceus spellbook, but then I thought to myself I wasn't making great use of the thralls, and I swapped to the lunar spellbook for vengeance because it just seems to make sense. Since Kalphite Queen is so hard-hitting, the rebound damage has to be pretty valuable, right? Well, if anybody else has done this KQ grind, or just has an opinion on this, do let me know. What do you prefer? What do you think is better, the thralls or vengeance? Obviously, now that I've been using Vengeance for quite some time now with most of the KC, I prefer the Vengeance. Although, it does mean I'm using Astral Runes, and I never have too many of those, so at some point I'm going to have to craft some more. As we continue to work on KQ, fast approaching 900 KC, I mentioned this previously, but it's honestly really satisfying to do KQ. Obviously, we are here for the jar and the pet. Yeah, satisfying to do KQ. I know that sounds weird to say, but I guess that's what happens when you have the max mage set up. This really does make this experience so much better in my opinion. But also, even the regular loot here is great. I've already touched on, you know, like the Zammy wines and the skilling EXP supplies and all that. But even the prayer potion drops, the range potion drops, and the super combats especially, I'm actually profiting potions doing this boss. I'm using 0 potions. This is just good news all around. In other news, I think I touched on this briefly, but I still don't have a dragon pickaxe specifically from Kalphite Queen. Where is it? And now we're working on KC 900. Let's see what we're gonna get. Alright, here we go. Some monkfish and Zammy wines. Always appreciate the Zammy wine drop nonetheless, although we have plenty of those. Alright, so with the 900 KC milestone being reached, we're not done with KQ, but we are going to take a brief break from it, swap our spellbook to Arceus, and we're going to head on over to some Tombs of Amascut. Now, I've been doing some team TOAs lately, and those are going well. I tried to do some solos, and I just wasn't having a good time. Well, I'm going to be soloing right now, so will I regret it? I guess we'll find out. How's a new PB? Okay. Well, first of the day, let's see if we can snag ourselves a purple. Zoom. And moment of truth. White light. Anything useful though? Oh, cache of runes. Not bad chest. 23 battle staves, that's money right there. Death runes, cache of runes. I just walked into that. Oh, no, that was another PB. I'm just picking up PBs for free right now. 400s have been the sweet spot for you. Best effort to purple ratio. Yeah, that's how I used to feel. Like, before I had a shadow, I ran 390s. And then once I had a shadow, 400s. And I saw the key. You gotta zoom more, like, further in to not be able to see the keys. Snapdragon seeds. That's probably the most notable thing there. That took 3 minutes longer, and that was a 6% unique chance. And never lucky. Oh, blood essence. I like that. Zoom in. Slight milk as we're zoomed in, but we're running. We're not walking it. And disappointment. Alright, blood essence maybe? I always appreciate blood essence. Nope, we get Torstal seeds. Well, we did 4 TOAs, unfortunately nothing to show for. What we did end up doing was slowly start scaling up the TOAs again. Today we ran 2 350s and then 2 400s. Honestly, it doesn't change too much. The invocation levels, it'd have to be a much bigger jump than that. And as long as you don't turn on things like dehydration, it doesn't change the rate and how you go through it all that much. Another point is with the TOA changes that, well, they're not recent anymore, but relatively recent, I suppose. It doesn't feel worth it to run high invocations, in my opinion anyways. I don't know. Someone could run the numbers on that, but it just, the reward versus effort does not seem worth it to me. So I think at the highest, I'd run 400s as a comfort level thing at the most, but when I'm raiding with other people with various levels of experience in the game and various gear, it's probably just going to be flat 300s, honestly. But anyways, back to Kalphite Queen. We last left off on 900 KC. Rune crafting progress is slow, but I certainly haven't helped it in any capacity. But nevertheless, here's 91 rune crafting. 8 more levels to go. We've continued to work at the KQKC up to 946 now. But between the TOAs we've been doing and all the shadow charges we've been blasting directly at KQ, we desperately need some more charges. So I'm going to be purchasing some chaos runes again, these chaos packs. Although you can see in my inventory, we don't have too much GP. So yeah, I'm going to have to do some high alking or just dumping some stuff into stores. But for right now, I'm going to hop a couple of worlds and purchase some more chaos runes. And there's a chance I might be dabbling into some more TOAs. Not too sure though. Okay, first trio. And nothing. Let's see if we can get anything. Never. 5 dragon med helms, money. I need that actually. We are back to KQ, and I'm already 2 KCs into this trip, and this might be a world record of some sort. I used absolutely 0 food for the 2 KCs. I had to actually eat and drop some food for the sole purpose of picking up the loot, but other than that, I actually didn't need to eat at all. For how much damage KQ does, this is incredibly surprising. Another day, another farming contract. Give me something good, like an herbs or something to plant, yeah? White berries. Well, as you figured, we just logged on for the day, and I was getting ready to do some more KQ. I was going to do a birdhouse run even, and I meant to, but I forgot. But here I am at TOA. Yep, we're going to be doing some TOA, some duos to start off the session. I'm surprised I'm not dead. Surprised I'm not dead. First raid of the day. Enhance. Zoom. And psych. We go again. And I see my own key. You gotta zoom really close in. Lily of the Sands, that's good for the Menophyte remedies, I suppose. Toad flax seeds again. I think we got that last raid, right? Or did we get something else? I don't know. Where's the purple at? I've gotten like 10 billion toad flax seeds in the last 3 raids. Well, that was certainly something different. We started out the day with some TOA, and unfortunately there's nothing to show for. But back to KQ, and we're currently at 971 KC, so about an hour or so until we hit the big 1000. The last 2 drops consisted of prayer potions and now Renar weeds, 25 of them. Considering how much I burn at TOA, this is good news. Now at TOA, I actually don't use too many brews or restores. Through the power of the yellow Charis Partisan of the Sun, I believe is the official name. Basically, I just rely on prayer to heal instead. The longer you play this game, it's honestly kind of weird what you find yourself getting into. Like, think about it. I'm doing Kalphite Queen right now. Like, in a max mage setup, and the only reason I'm here is to go for the pet and the jar. I never thought I would ever return the Kalphite Queen after completing the Desert Elite Diary, but here I am. Wow, another KQ head. This might be the first drop in a little while, but we've definitely gotten a ton of these KQ heads for this recent stint of KQ. That's going to be our 4th one recently, and overall, let's take a look at the collection log. That is the 8th one. I think we're still considered lucky on those. 1 in 128. But to pair with it, we did get 2 magic seeds. That's worth 182k. Pretty good death coffer if we so choose. Or alternatively, if we want to get a lot of post 99 farming XP, those are good to stack up in the bank and the seed vault. With magic seeds in particular, I actually don't have too many of those these days. All the extra magic seeds I did have after I got done with 99 farming on this account, they sat around and, you know, through various means of content, I did rack up a few. But afterwards, when I created 416 Hero, I pretty much dumped all my magic seeds onto that account. Here we are working on KC 1000. It's going to be another boss that's going to be in the 4 digits. I don't have too many of those, but for our 1000th KC here, Magic Logs and Sair Doman Brews. Now I'm going to TP out here, and I've been noticing along the grind that our Astral Runes are running very low. We're sub 1000 in the rune pouch, and actually this is all the Astral Runes we have on the account. So I'm going to do a little bit of upkeep on that. And this is how we're going to do it. We've slapped on our Guardians of the Eye. What? Guardians of the Eye? Eye of the Rope? Or Guardians of the Rift outfit. Yep. And we're going to Lunar Isle teleport. You can already see I have left click set to Lunar Isle on the Portal Nexus. We're going to run on over to the Astral Altar there. And then we're going to bank here as well. And we're just going to rely on our Maxscape. Now, I do believe there is some sailing tech involved because this is where you can TP to, and this is a much shorter run. So if you can park your boat here and teleport to your boat, that is going to be tech as well. But I don't have that option available, I don't think. For us, each trip to the altar here is 212, well, I guess give or take some, right? There is like some percentages, multipliers and whatnot, but about 200 astral runes per trip. Let's just put it at that. More than that. So really, it only takes me 5 trips and I would have more than doubled the existing stack I had. So we don't have to do too much of this to get a nice stack going. And honestly, it's not like I burned through too many astral runes. Although if I plan on doing another 1,000 or 2,000 more KQ, maybe a different story. But besides the KQ grind, I do use Astral Runes in hard mode top on the off chance that I'm not a freeze roll, that is. And I'm sure there's other locations where I'd be using Astral Runes. I guess Team CMs, although I don't do too many of those either. But the point is, it's nice to have Astral Runes, and it's something I'll have to do later anyway, so might as well get as much done as I can while I'm actively already doing it. Well, keeping with the rune crafting we're currently doing, on 416 Hero we have still been at Zaya, nothing's changed. Our soul rune stack is racking up though, and we are very, very close to a crafting level. We're going to be 92 crafting in 15,000 EXP or so. And this is all from Zaya rune crafting. Honestly, multi-skilling always feels good. A lot of the mini games, for example, Guardians of the Rift gives you crafting and mining XP. Tempros gives you construction and cooking on top of the fishing. What else? Winter Todd gives you wood cutting, fletching, obviously fire making, and even construction. So it's really satisfying when you're just passively gaining other levels and other skills when you're working on one specific thing. We are up to KC 1038 now. Couple of KCs into this trip, but once again our shadow is starting to run low on charges at just, well, last game message was 1200 charges, 1196. For reference, I had just put, I don't know, like 2000, 3000 charges into it, but between this and TOA, the charges are just getting depleted. And I actually have done quite a few bit more TOAs between the last set of clips and now, but unfortunately just no purples. Shadow charges aside, KQ does eat up a lot of my food, so I am going to have to do some trawling as well. And obviously earlier we also did have to do some astral rune crafting. We are pretty set on that, and now we have almost 5,000. Very quick to resupply on astrals, as it's about 200 runes every time I go to the altar, so not bad at all. But yeah, trawling, we do want to dedicate a little bit of time. Honestly, I wish I could just take an entire day or something and just dedicate it to trawling. I could probably pick up a few thousand fish that way. I think no matter what fish you're trawling, it comes out to about 600 fish per hour, which is pretty good. And in regards to the fish that I'm using here as food for Kalphite Queen, I think for a main, this is pretty expensive food to be using for Kalphite Queen. I was having a conversation with somebody in my stream today, and I think they didn't realize I was any form of Ironman at first, and they were like, wow, you're using such expensive food. And yeah, that's the difference, right? As an Ironman, that's not something you really think about. This food, while it is probably expensive GP-wise, is actually probably the easiest food I can get, or rather the quickest. Certain things are easier, like Karambwans and anglers are super chill and AFK to obtain, but I know Karambwan rates are pretty high. I think you can probably get like 600 an hour as well, but anglerfish are very, very slow. But things like bluefins, even marlins, if I wanted to go catch marlins, these high tier fish, expensive to normal main accounts, but I mean, we don't really think about GP value too much as an Ironman, and this is the best available food for me. Oh, a purple! The one time I don't milk it, a purple. Here we go, here we go. Missouri, please. Missouri piece, please. Like a body, perhaps? Mask or body? Come on. Disappointment. That is going to be light bear number 17, I believe. Yep. One ahead of the fangs now. Well, that was another spontaneous TOA. This time a solo 400, and I was rewarded with the light bear. Anyways, I'm out here in the oceans again, doing some trawling, recuperating all the food that we've been nomming on at Kalphite Queen. We certainly use a whole lot. Okay, I don't know why I just moved off like that. Back it up, back it up, back it up. Anyways, we're fishing some bluefins right now. We're gonna get the occasional marlins as well. Actually, we have 22 marlins in the nets right now. That's pretty good. And after that last TOA, and while I've been trawling here, I just made the realization. I probably want to be doing some more TOA on 416 Hero. Relatively recently, we attempted a 400. That didn't go too well, so we bumped it down to a 350, and we were able to do the 350 decently on 416 Hero. But a couple of factors there. One, I was out of practice at TOA. I'm getting a little bit more comfortable again now. And two, it was just a one-time attempt, and it could have just been bad RNG as well, as I got DPS checked at Akka. I do want to think about going for the 500 Fang kit as a 50 defense. But another thing is I am going to need the yellow Karis, the Karis Partisan of the Sun. So I think I'm going to try to do some 350s, maybe 300s, whatever works. We're going to figure it out on 416 Hero. Now, the downside of doing that, though, is wait for it here, I am missing the pet. On top of the fact that I just want to accumulate KC to work towards the 2K cape, that is a very long-term goal. But more importantly, if I, for some reason, spoon the pet on 416 Hero, I'm going to be a little sad because I'm still missing the pet on here. But yeah, future TOAs, I'm probably going to look to do them on 416 Hero. It does take away from the skilling grinds a bit, but that's okay. Another day of charging my Tumican Shadow. We're going to put another 3,660 charges in it. It has just about 600 in it right now, so 4,200 and some change. Our KC right now is 1,068. For what it's worth, we still don't have the Dragon Pickaxe drop from here. And I guess we're a little over 2.5 times the rate right now, so that's kind of unfortunate. Out of principle. Out of principle. Obviously, we don't need the dragon pickaxe. Let's see if we can get one today. In all honesty, I'm going to try to put as much time into KQ today, and it might have to be the last session for a little bit. Remember, we started this grind at 669 KC, so we've done a healthy amount of KQ, and as I've always discussed, at this stage of the account, I'm not really here for like a great motivating reason other than the green log, and I don't know, some people are incredibly dedicated when they go for a green log and they can stay at one singular boss for extended periods of time. But for me, the way I've played this game and progressed in this game, I'm pretty much mostly motivated if something offers a PVM upgrade. So raids, well, maybe raids aren't a great example because raids are naturally just pretty fun in general. But any PVM item, for example, at Zulrah when I didn't have a blowpipe yet, I was so motivated to do Zulrah just for the blowpipe, as well as the magic fang for the trident upgrade, things of that nature. But for me to grind out potentially thousands of KC at KQ for a jar, really think about that for a second. Yeah, we're probably gonna come here in increments of a couple hundred KC here and there. Alright, this walk of shame to go collect my stuff is a sign. We're currently not too far in for the day. 1087 KC, so I think we've legitimately only done a couple. But I think the game plan right now is to reach 1100. And then earlier I talked about doing some TOA on 416 Hero. We're probably going to look to do that, send a couple, see if we can get lucky for a yellow gem or anything like that. And then, yeah, that'll have to do it for KQ, honestly. We've done over 400 KC on this grind, and unfortunately, no collection log. At this stage of the account, can't say I'm surprised. Working on the second to last KC right now. Was not expecting this, but we just hit 70 million magic EXP. And to think we get that little milestone at KQ of all places. Anyways, unfortunately so far today we have not seen any uniques whatsoever. There's still a chance though. There's still a chance. And here we go for the last KC. 1100. I thought about going to 1111 honestly, but I'm actually kind of itching to do that TOA weirdly enough, so yeah, let's see what we get here. Well, let's eat up, you know, hopefully we don't get a plank. And that should do the trick. I'm gonna zoom super far in, and I couldn't see my loot. Wow, okay, that's some garbage. Alright, let's get out of here. And I already have 416 heroes sitting in the TOA lobby. We just gotta gear that account up. Might have to trade a couple of things over. And here we are on 416 hero. We're gonna run a 350 as we did last time. Now that last 350 TOA, well, it was just 1 KC, and also it was a while ago. So I'm gonna go ahead and run it again with a few adjustments in my inventory, and we'll see how this goes. Obviously, recently we picked up the dupe Missouri chaps, so now we have that available over the Eclipse Tacits, so that's pretty nice. That's actually some extra range accuracy as well as range strength, so absolutely massive. And we are here at TOA hoping to get the mask as well as the Missouri body now. And of course, the things like the yellow gem, or any gems in general, actually. I don't have any of them. Now, on 416 Hero, we actually want to do the rooms in a different order. Typically, I would start with the Baba room, but instead here, I'm starting with Zabak. I think in not knowing what to expect, maybe it would have been smarter to not have a time limit on, but here we are. Here we are. Also, I think I just left a prayer potion behind, didn't I? Also, we just walked into Akka. Is it too late to go back? Alright, we're just gonna have to reset. Alright, this raid is already chalked. Why did I walk into Akka? Typically, once you come out of Baba, you just go to the room directly next to you. But in this different run, we have to run across the room. So, well, that was unfortunate. At least we weren't too far into the raid. My shadow has no charges. Oh my god. Like, I don't know. Basically, they're no. Oh my god, okay. Alright, in today's stream, we're gonna be doing Zabak 500 times, and only Zabak. But like, I could easily get it, like, you know, it's just Corrupted Gauntlet, which I have done, and I just made it into a sale door. As you can see, I have one on this account. But like, honestly, my gear would be kind of trash. I could get an IAC, I guess. Anyways, yep, that is 2 KC on this account. We actually spooned the Divine Rune Pouch, the Eladinus thread, on KC number 1 some time ago. Naturally, a new PB, not gonna milk it, and there is no purple. Because last KC we didn't milk, and we got no purple. But we're gonna milk right here and snag a purple, right? 5.2%? Alright, never lucky. After a little bit of a TOA session, those 350s honestly weren't too bad. Made a couple of mistakes here and there, which were mostly just mental mistakes. But one thing I'm not sure about is the fact that I went ahead and 4-downed Warden both times. 3 down is perfectly acceptable, but 4 down is not so great. But I don't know, I'm not too sure what to do about that. Like, maybe I'll just bring a Dragon Dagger in or something. I could definitely afford the space, no problem. Anyways, right now I'm doing some trawling, some cozy trawling. Actually got a little bit of a headache after that TOA session for some reason. So yeah, we're just gonna chill out with some trawling. All in meanwhile, 416 Hero has returned to do some rune crafting once again. 416 Hero, 92 crafting by way of Zaya rune crafting. There we have it. 7 more levels until we get access to the unofficial max guild. Oh, looks like we do unlock something at 92. Zenite necklaces, of course. How could I forget that? Necklace of English, very important.